thank you very much. And I have the opportunity now to introduce the next guest speaker, our keynote speaker, a man who grew up as just a paper boy in Oklahoma, certainly proven that you can go much further than throwing papers at a doorstep. He graduated from Oklahoma State University, and in 1956, he started Mesa Petroleum after saving $2,500 of his own money. And after 40 years of his leadership, T.Boone Pickens, he took Mesa Corporation and $2,500 and he turned it into 150 million barrels of oil and more than 3 trillion cubic feet of gas, making Mesa one of the nation's largest independent oil companies. Now, because of his success, CNBC labeled him as the Oracle of Oil. Financial World named him CEO of the decade in 1989. Oil and gas investor listed him as one of the 100 most influential people in the petroleum century. Now, of course, throughout his success, he has been a very passionate advocate of a national energy plan. He is one who has not only proven that our nation needs a plan, but ceases to have one right now. We've seen him on TV and around the country working tirelessly, promoting his own plan that he financially backed himself, and that's called the Pickens Plan. And he is joined today by his beautiful wife, Madeline, and I am proud to introduce to you the legendary oil and gas tycoon, one of America's best-known entrepreneurs, T.Boone Pickens.
I don't like to stand behind those deals, and mainly because I work out at 6:30 in the morning and my legs are tired. So that's my excuse for sitting down and talking to you. That I have a very serious subject today to talk about. It's about us, you, me, and the rest of us in this country. That we are, and it's probably not a surprise to most of you, that we are dependent on oil from people that don't like us. I'm talking about the Mideast. Now, you've seen what's happened over there in the last 60 days. That Tunisia has gone down. Well, that's 400,000 barrels a day. Now you've got Libya. It's gone down to 1,600,000 barrels a day. They're fooling around with the UAE. It's got some problems too. Morocco. It's this whole thing over there is very, very serious. The media doesn't, I don't think they really focus on or fully understand and appreciate what it all means to us. From that area, the world daily gets 29 million barrels of oil. I'm talking about the world. Of the 29, we get 5. We use 5 million barrels out of that area. If, for instance, if the Saudis, if they went under, if the royal family failed, if their fields shut down, you'd be talking about 9 million barrels a day. And that would put oil $500 a barrel if that went off. So, well, that's far-fetched. That's kind of a wild idea. Boone's throwing that at us right quick here. It isn't a wild idea. It could happen. Iran went down in '79. The Shah did, and that went over to control that was very, very unfriendly to us. And now, believe it or not, Ahmadinejad, that I don't know whether his title is president or whatever it is of Iran, and you've heard some of the things he said about us, which are nothing complimentary he said about us. He now, it's his turn to be head of OPEC. So he's coming up, I believe, in 2 or 3 months. He will be the chairman of OPEC. So here we've got a guy that is just totally impossible to deal with, and we're going to have to deal with him. All right, none of this has to happen. Today, the world produces 88 million barrels a day. 88. We produce 7 of that, but we use 20. So we're using 20 out of 88, producing 7, and importing 13. I've got to have a napkin, because does anybody, I don't want to borrow anybody's handkerchief, that, got it? Good deal, thanks. I don't know whether you all have allergies or not, but I do. We're importing 13 million barrels out of the 20 we use. So we're using 20 out of 88 that the world produces. And out of that, out of the imported to the United States, the 13 million, 5 come from OPEC. That is what I want to change. We got to get loose from these people because they set the price for oil. If anybody thinks that it's a free market for oil, they're kidding themselves. There's no free market for oil. OPEC sets that for us. And they said the other day, I never saw one article about it, but I do know that it was said that they have to have $94 a barrel for oil, that their social commitments, obligations to their people require $94 a barrel. So get ready. Well, we're over 100, I understand that, but don't feel like it's going to go back below 94 because I don't think that's going to happen. If it did, it would be just momentary that it would take place. So here, we have resources in America to fix it, and that is we've got natural gas. Anything American, I'm for. I'm not even against ethanol. And it's an ugly baby, but it's our baby, and but it's better than OPEC. I can tell you that ethanol is better than OPEC. So, but we've got plenty of natural gas. We're going to have batteries that are going to do a lot for our light-duty vehicles, but a battery won't move an 18-wheeler. So what I am trying to convince everybody, and I've got a bill in Congress, H.R. 1380, that bill is for heavy-duty, the 18-wheelers in this country. There are 8 million of them, 8 million. There are 270 million total vehicles in America. So all I want is the 8 million 18-wheelers. If we had the right leadership and Congress passed 1380, it goes through the Senate and the President, he says he'll sign it, that we then will be able to help those 18-wheelers when a owner moves from diesel, can go to natural gas. It is more expensive and will be until you get up to scale on it. So, and it's about $60,000. That would be a tax credit. So we've got to figure out how we pay for that. But that would be $1 billion a year for 5 years. If we don't have it in 5 years, forget it. It was a bad idea and just walk off from it. But it's not a bad idea because 1 MCF of natural gas is $4, and that's equivalent to 7 gallons of diesel, which is $7 a gallon, just say 7 gallons of diesel, which is worth $30. 7 gallons of diesel is $30, and 1 MCF of natural gas, same amount of energy, is $4. That is not sustainable. You cannot have 2 commodities that far apart. Either this one comes down or this one goes up, but this one is ours and it's 30% cleaner than this one from the enemy. So everything is in our favor to the point where you say we've had divine intervention is what we've had, is something wonderful has happened to us in a very short period of time to make all of this happen. So we're going to go from diesel to natural gas is the way it's going to work, and it's going to work for the 18-wheelers. How long it takes is the question. If we have the right leadership and can give us the right direction, and everybody in this country understands we're going to get on our own resources and get off of the enemy's oil, then we can move in that direction quicker. How fast? We could get there, I think, in 5 years. I think that it probably is more realistic to believe you get there in 7. But we're helping ourselves the whole time, and as we go up on the use of our resources, it allows us to negotiate for the price of oil. So what if we get this 8 million 18-wheelers in the United States? Let's say we do it in 5 years. That would cut OPEC in half. We import 5 million from OPEC. 8 million 18-wheelers is 2.5 million barrels a day. So with only 8 million trucks, you could cut OPEC in half. You could, if you do that, you are going to show the world America knows what they're doing. You're going to see jobs come with this. There'll be over 500,000 jobs you will get by doing this. And it's, you got the jobs, you got the cheaper fuel. You see, it's about $2 a gallon cheaper that natural gas is than diesel. That's huge, huge. And these 18-wheelers use between 20 and 30,000 gallons of fuel a year. So it's saving $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on the fuel for those vehicles. So they're going to pay out quickly. Once the ball rolls in that direction, then it will continue to happen. But what we got to do is get on our own resources. Okay, having said that, I've pretty well set up the problem that we face. How did we get in the spot we're in? Real simple. The oil was cheap. The oil was cheap. We're the only country in the world that has no energy policy. And we use 20 million barrels a day. The second to us are the Chinese. They use 10. They produce 5, import 5. But the 5 they import is oil they have control of. We use 20, produce 7, import 13, and we don't control any of the 13. So our profile is totally different than the Chinese. When we were in Iraq, we are in Iraq, but when we were, Bush was in the White House, I went there twice to sell him on the idea that the Iraqis give to the United States a call on their oil at market price. Oh, he said you can't do it because he said it'll, the people say that we went to Iraq for their oil. I said, no, that was before we spent $1.5 trillion, lost 5,000 people and had 31,000 injured. So now it's different than the day we went there 9 years ago. And so I said, I think that we could go to Iraq and get the president of Iraq to offer us, for all you Americans have done for us, we will give you a call on our oil at market price. Well, I didn't get anywhere. So I tried it with Obama in August of '08 before he was elected president. But I said, you can't leave Iraq without our getting a call. Didn't do anything. Nobody does anything. If you go back over 40 years ago, Nixon said, elect me and we'll be energy independent. Everybody that ran for president over from that point forward, that was 1970, that point forward said the same thing. Elect me president and we'll be energy independent. Democrat, Republican, didn't make any difference. Nothing happened. They never did one thing. When Nixon said that, we imported 24% of the oil. Today, we import 65% of our oil. But nobody had an energy plan. We went 40 years, no energy plan.